Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to show how I scratch built this 40k Ork Whatchamacallum. Basically because it's got no real name. So to begin with, we take all our old plastic bottles, tubes, bits and pieces, broken toys, old glue bottles, basically whatever bits and pieces we've got lying around, and then we see what we can make from this. So initially my main idea was I wanted to make some sort of Ork spaceship. So that's kind of how I started this project off. There was no real plans, no pictures, no reference photos. It was just a case of a rough idea. So to get the scale of the build right for 40k, I've got a new Ork that I'll be using. And this little chap I'm going to call Crazy Dave, as basically he's going to be the test pilot for any kind of vehicles that I make. So I guess the hardest part about scratch building can sometimes be where to start. Let's say I've got a rough idea I want to make a spaceship. So obviously it's going to need some sort of jets or thrusters. These glue bottles will be perfect for that. So yeah, obviously I can take another glue bottle and glue those two glue bottles together. There we go, so we've got a bit of a start now. Now I'm going to sort of like attach bits to it. So obviously I need a kind of a cockpity area for this little dude to sit. So yeah, and he fits quite nicely into this little tyre as well. And the great thing is, obviously, this is going to be like an Ork build, so it will be made up of all kinds of bits and pieces. Yeah, glued, welded, riveted together, basically. So yeah, so I've got quite a few bits and pieces here, and sometimes it's a case of holding things up, seeing if it looks any good, trimming bits down, and you'll see later on. I don't actually use this bit in the end, but again, it's one of those things where you have to sort of try things, see what they look like. And if you're happy with it, great, and if not, get rid of it. Which is what I'm doing here, basically. I've stuck this little bit of Lego tile at the back as like the hatch door thingy. But then I kind of saw a better one on my desk. So yeah, it's a case of changing things just so you're happy, really. Especially when there isn't a reference picture or you're not going by anything on this. This really can look and feel however you want, really. So say at the moment, it was still a case of this was going to be some sort of flying machine. But as you'll see later on, it kind of changed into a walking machine. And the reason for that is I was actually doing a live stream when I was building this. Yeah, and one of the viewers suggested why not give it legs. So we did a little poll on the live stream, and yeah, more people wanted it to have legs rather than it to be basically a flying machine. So yeah, so that's why it kind of changed a little bit, which is cool. I'm pleased with how he came out at the end. It looks kind of funny. It looks a combination of a few kind of weird looking vehicles, which again, perfect for Orks. So yeah, it is really a case of just trying different pieces out, moving them around. And as you'll see, I use a variety of glues, using my super glue and the hot glue gun. And the hot glue gun is great because it acts as a filler as well. So initially, these little green bits I was putting in these in the holes of the glue bottle would have actually fallen through. But because of putting a layer of glue in there first, it kind of made it, well, it packed it out a little bit. So that way, obviously, the little green bits don't fall through, and once it dries, it obviously glues into place nicely. And the great thing about using the glue gun is you don't get it, well, you get it on your fingers. When it's on your fingers, you can pull it off nice and easy. Because the thing I hate about the super glue is you get it on your fingers, and then that's it. You spend the next 2-3 days trying to pull the stuff off. So for the legs, I'm basically going to keep them nice and simple and just use some wire. I guess the main reason I'm keeping it simple is I haven't really got a whole load of stuff to scratch build with at the moment. Especially not small stuff. I've got lots of bottles and big pieces, but I haven't really got a lot of stuff to make smaller stuff with. So I'm actually going to go out to Poundland in the next week or so, and basically I'm going to go in with £10 and I'm going to buy loads of small bits and pieces that I can then use to do some scratch building with. So obviously, as it is an Ork build, it needs to have obviously additional panels glued to it, as obviously Orks, well, they just keep repairing things and repairing things. So nothing ever sort of dies with Orks. It just gets bits, or more bits sort of glued on, riveted on, just to keep it going. So yes, I'm using the good old sprue panels here. Obviously, I've got quite a few panels left about, and they also make for awesome little rivets. As you can see here, using a hole punch the things out, instant little rivets, and yeah, just glue them on. Nice and simples. Let me know in the description, guys, if you want to see more of these kind of scratch built projects, as I certainly do enjoy these. And I think I think I say that every time I've done one of these kind of projects. I always say how much I enjoy doing scratch building stuff, but then it normally goes about 3-4 weeks before I do another one. So yeah, I would do need to do more of these, and I do need to buy more and more bits and pieces to do them with. So yeah, let me know guys if you want to see more of these scratch built projects, and even maybe what you might want to see me try and make. So the one thing I really do have a problem with at the moment, and that is making weapons. As I say, I haven't really got many small bits and pieces to make stuff with. I've only got the larger bottles, which obviously can't really make weapons out of the larger bottles. So yeah, so I do need to buy some smaller stuff. Yeah, just so I can make some more weapons. So as you can see, in this case, I've had to sort of kind of cheat, and I've used a couple of Warhammer guns. I'm not too sure where these are from. I've got like a bit of a Warhammer bits box because I bought a few vehicles, but they never actually quite got made. I kind of just chopped them up and used them as bits. But there you go. So now it's painted. It definitely takes on a better look, I feel, when things are primed, just because when you do scratch build stuff, they are made up from a variety of materials and colours. And there's my little orc, so he's ready for painting as well. So one of the things I'm going to do, obviously I like doing rust effects, and I find the best way to do that is to get some brown paint and a bit of grout. Mix the two together so it's nice and thick and obviously browny looking. And then yeah, I just sort of dab this on, using a nice big brush here. And then yeah, just dab it on because obviously it'll give it the colour it needs, plus it also gives it some texture because obviously the grout's in there, especially when it dries. It then leaves obviously little hard bits, which I think works out quite well. Yes, again, my painting skills, I would say they've not really got any better. I don't think I'm really improving much, but I do find that doing rust effect vehicles is much easier for me. I have more fun doing it, and I think the end result isn't too bad at all. So yes, I think when you see me doing these scratch built things, they're going to be rust buckets basically. So yeah, a bit of dry brushing with silver, although I say dry brushing, I have got a bit too much silver on this brush, so it's kind of like halfway between a full coat and a dry brush. But hey ho, the effect comes out well. So once I've done all that, then I'm going to go over with some Vallejo rust wash effect. And again, I try and get this into all like the nooks and crannies. I put loads on, and then obviously I dab some off with a little rag sort of thingy here, just so it's not too thick on it then. Although this brush really sort of looks a bit greenish, but yeah, I think the overall effect is kind of cool. I say this is definitely going to be a rust bucket, so I'm going to be doing this. I'm probably going to go with a black wash as well. Yeah, just to make it look like this thing has been through the wars basically. As I say, I think doing these kind of like effects certainly hides the ability that you don't have to paint too well. As this kind of stuff, you can just chuck it on really, which is kind of good. As I say, at least this way then I enjoy the painting, which as I always say is the main thing when you're doing some sort of build. You really want to enjoy what you're doing. So now I'm just going to add a bit of orange contrast paint to these sort of like exhaust pipe bits back of the engine. As you can see, I'm still using my little sprue holder that I made, well, months and months ago, as it certainly is good for these little bowls, as it keeps the lid open and there's no way you can knock it over. Well, not unless you really give it a good old thwack. So I wasn't too sure what to do for the base really. But as I've got that grass flocker and I've only used it, well, I think I've only used it once actually. Yeah, I thought I'd have a go at doing that. Not that I'm sure you'd see too many Ork vehicles walking on the grass, but hey ho, you never know. Plus, this is my world, so in this world, you are going to see this Ork vehicle walking across some lovely green hill somewhere. So yes, I'm obviously going to paint the base green, just so when I do use the grass flocker, you can't see obviously any of the red primer or any of that underneath basically. So with the grass flocker, all you need to do is basically fill up this little contraption with obviously the grass, and in this case I'm using two different sort of colour greens, just to sort of vary and mix up the shading when it's actually used. And then yeah, it's just a case of putting some PVA glue down obviously everywhere where you want the grass to stick. So yeah, using this trusty little stirrer I can spread it all out just to make sure it's nice and even and obviously all over the base. And then once that's done, we can then attach the clip to our build, and there's a little button on the side of the flocker. We just push that, and obviously that causes a static which makes the grass stand up on end, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's nice and simple. Just a case of shaking it vigorously, and then it comes out nice and fine through obviously the little grate. Yeah, hits the base, and the static makes it stand up on end. So yeah, nice and simples. And I think the end result is pretty cool, really. So there's just one last thing to really do to this, and obviously as it is an Ork vehicle, it needs to have a little checker pattern on it. And to do this, I'm going to use some acrylic pens. So rather than try and use the painting, where it's pretty fiddly, these acrylic paint pens basically paint on anything, and obviously give the same sort of effect as though it was painted. So yeah, nice and simple. Do a little checker pattern, and then just colour in the squares basically. Okay, just before we get to the glamour shots, I just want to say a big thank you to all my patrons for helping support this channel. Because of their kind contributions, I'm able to still go out, buy stuff, to make some lovely bits and pieces for you guys to watch. There is a link in the description if you want to become a patron, help support the channel, and have your name appear in the credits on all my videos. Okay, now to see those finished shots. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave some comments down below, let me know what you thought of this video and what you might want to see me make next. If you are new here and you like what I do, it'd be great if you could hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. There's a couple more videos on the screen, guys. Why don't you give them a little click and see more of what I do. Okay guys, that's it. Bye for now.